What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Monday, May 18th to all of you. Thank you for watching the Morning Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We have a huge week ahead. Also, as many of you have possibly heard, it is our final full week with Jose Bouquet. It's a tough week. Now, we do have some wonderful news. We will have Jose rocking with us Tuesdays through Fridays. This week, it'll just be Wednesday through Friday. But for the morning show, Jose will still be a part of our morning show, which we are extremely pleased about because we love him dearly and we wish him nothing but the best in his new endeavors. And also, when we go down to Pubapalooza 6, now there is possibilities he may move to Boston, but, if not, he'll be in San Antonio. And if he moves up to Boston, just closer to me, so I'll be able to roll down, rock with Nasty Nate and Jose Bouquet. So sad news, but exciting news as Jose is taking his next step in his career, and we love him very, very much. Thank you guys for joining us. We've got the nuke worker in the house, Stacks, ready to get to work. Let's copy and paste the Stacks plays of the day. Phillies Reds over 9.5 and Goodman over 1.5 bases at plus 115. Let's get this all locked and loaded up. Here we got TJ in the house. Los Chudy, I forgot to thank you when I was leaving before my trip. You told me to bet Arsenal. And I said, nothing wrong with a little more action than I did, and a cash. So thank you, my friend. I forgot to thank you for that. TJ, ready to get to work. Great to see you. Matty Ice, ready to go. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Don't forget to put your best bets here in the chat so we can discuss them and close our show with the chat's best bets. Hey, who cares, man? We look back, it's just a win. Thank you for thinking of me there. That was very cool. So let's hammer away. Let me just get a ballpark pal up here as well to discuss the weather situations, the park factors. And I think that, let's get the board up as well here. Jermaine, ready to get to work. Great to see you. Jermaine, we got Dougie Wise into the house. KC -6 at -120 is the free bands play today. OKC -6 -120. I'll get that here copied and pasted. All right, well, let's get to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I've moved on 8 bets in the Major League Baseball card, and 2 games I've doubled down on, so it's not as massive as it sounds here. And Jermaine says pitchers K's versus the Red Sox on a 19-2 under run. Wow, that's a very, very interesting. There's Ronnie Lofton in the house. Thank you for the heads up on that, Jermaine. Let's get right to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We start at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. We have the Atlanta Braves, the Miami Marlins here, Lone Depot Park in Miami, Florida. It's getting hot out. That roof will be closed, but we should just do due diligence to make sure that will be the case here. Weather in Miami, and I imagine, it's stormy, scattered thunderstorms. The roof will be closed. Blackdoor King in the house. Let's get Blackdoor King's action here. We got free bands copied and pasted right under Justin McKelvey's action. 6th in the fall in the house. Great to see you guys. Thank you for joining us. A new week begins right here and right now. I have doubled up on this very first baseball game of the season. And the market is screaming. So based upon the market, I'm very comfortable with it. It took me a little while for me to get the X's and O's to fit here. We've had a huge move towards the Marlins. They opened up at plus 109. Now they're minus 109. That's a big dog, the favorite scenario here. We have 92% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the Atlanta Braves. And this line, clearly moving away from them. FanDuel Now, is this right? Wow. There's huge moves here towards the Marlins. It's some books not quite as heavy. But there's been a move towards the Miami Marlins with Max Meyer on the hill. And it's predicated on J.R. Ritchie's struggles with location. He's been struggling with location. We know he is a very highly thought of young pitcher. Baldwin over 1.5 bases here for Justin McKelvey. Swiggy talking about the Braves bats being fired. They certainly are. Braves are hitting, especially with righties, 261, 778 OPS last 30 days. Marlins versus righties, 246, 60. KT is on the first 5 over 4.5. I can understand focusing on the first 5 because these bullpens are pitching very, very, very well. Chris Warren in the house. Great to see you, Chris. We have the Braves bullpen, 3.13 ERA, 1.10 whip last 30 days. The Marlins bullpen, 3.39 ERA, 1.13 whip. Jermaine says Marlins okay versus righties. I don't know. I mean, they have no power whatsoever over the last 30 days versus righties, 660 OPS. A gamma ray play today is in. It is the New York Yankees fading our friend Patrick Corbin. And I'm right with you on that one, Nuke. I am a lockstep with that one right there. But let's keep rolling here with the Braves Marlins. So J.R. Ritchie, 3.32 ERA, but a 1.43 whip. 17 Ks, 15 walks is not exactly what J.R. Ritchie had expected to have for a K-walk ratio here in the majors. 4.54 xERA. And he's not going deep into games because of the walk struggle. Now, he had a home start versus the Cubs in his last appearance, and he only walked 3 batters. He walked 6 in his appearance before that versus the Mariners. They gave him some time in between starts, too, 9 days in between starts. They are concerned about what's happening here. With J.R. Ritchie, and it doesn't take much for me to get on Max Meyer and to believe in Max Meyer, as you guys know, another very highly thought of a prospect, but he's now been in the show for a couple of years. 3.21 ERA, 4.27 xERA, 1.15 whip. He has 17 walks, just 2 more than J.R. Ritchie, but he has done that in 26 more innings than J.R. Ritchie has throwing. The last start here for Maximus Meyer wasn't very good. 4 earned runs, 9-5 win at the Twins. But now he's back home where he wants to be. Irish King moving on the Thunder first quarter. And we got Wager Detective on the first 5 under here in this one. Great to see you, Wager Detective. Let me copy and paste our guys' action here under Gamma Ray play of the day. Let's get Flank Steak in here as well so we can discuss all the best bets here at the end of the show. And while we go through here, and there is 9 Legacy. It is the Seattle Mariners in this one for 9 Legacy is his best bet of the day. But back here, we have 2 very strong bullpens. The Braves obviously have an advantage versus righties. The Braves are clearly concerned with what J.R. Ritchie's doing. Clearly. And I think that's the best way to take advantage of this game. I should probably just trust the full game as that's where this line is moving. But for me, if J.R. Ritchie's having problems with location, and we know he's, a very, very good young pitcher, Max Meyer in a bounce back opportunity at home, despite going up against the tough Braves lineup, I would still like to cut this game down. I fear the Braves bullpen absolutely elite. Now, the Marlins bullpen pitching at a very high level as well. But when it's all said and done, I moved it to first 3 and first 5. And that's what I've done. I've got Marlins first 3 and first 5. I got the first 3 at -120 and the first 5 at -115. I got them both at 365. I was surprised that the price for the Marlins was the same first 5 and full game at Bet365 because it isn't at other books. And, Pinnacle, we'll check it out right now, but they had it -104 for the Marlins full game, -114 for the first 5. I thought that made sense to me. Now the Marlins are sitting here at -110 for the full game. And the first 5, it's -122 now. I mean, this is just flying in the Marlins' direction despite all this money on the Braves. This seems like an absolutely spectacular time to attack here in this one. And that is what I've done. Shout out to Jose Perez, Ramel Davis, Walla Walla Dos. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Double up spot for me to start the day. Marlins first 3, Marlins first 5. And then we roll on to game 2 here on the board, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. Baltimore Orioles, Tampa Bay Rays. We're at the Trop in St. Petersburg, where the Rays are 16-5 at home. Trevor Rogers has fallen from grace somewhat. Shout out to Steve Fehrenbach in the house. Great to see you. Papa Bach, ready to get to work. Trevor Rogers here was absolutely phenomenal last year. 1.81 ERA, 0.90 whip. There was a belief that he was incapable of delivering that over 170 or 180 innings. And anybody who thought that was the case was right. Trevor Rogers, 5.77 ERA, 4.13 xERA, 1.54 whip. He has struggled here. And we last saw him. They sent him to the IL for a stint. And he came back Tuesday, May 12th, and didn't look very good. 6 earned runs over 4 innings. There's Morgan Spooner in the house. Great to see you, a Spoon dog. Going up against the great Shane McClanahan, this line threw me for a loop. This line's moving towards Trevor Rogers. Shane McClanahan has been nothing short of spectacular. We haven't really seen him since 2023. It took him a few starts to get rolling, and now he's not allowed to run in his last 4 starts. And I've been involved backing him. And it's extremely hard to imagine that this line's moving towards Trevor Rogers the way it is. And from a total standpoint here, we've had a 10-cent move to the under, which is what I should probably believe in. And shout out to Kristen Hess in the house. Great to see you, Kristen Hess. A Better Made TV on the Rays first 5 money line. Yes, if I didn't look at the market at all, I would have bet that immediately as well. It just makes perfect sense. But here the market has just thrown me for a loop. So I've sat on the sidelines at this point. We have had this huge move towards the Orioles. Here, though, at Penny, the Rays are minus 149. And then first 5, they are minus 150. Why would they not be more expensive? AM says Rays can't hit lefties, 231, 627 OPS. Then you'd have to say the Orioles also can't hit lefties, 220, 671 OPS. Just the slightest bit harder than the Rays are hitting them. Shout out to the Godfather in the house, Athletics money line for the Godfather. So this whole thing, throws me for a loop. The Rays have a big bullpen advantage. We know that. Maybe that is part of it. Maybe that is part of the reasoning for all of this. They're telling us that Trevor Rogers is going to shut down the Rays. Shout out to Nate Dogg 420 in the house. I can't. I mean, the Rays are at a price here where you'd have to bet them first 5 minus a half. Now, I don't need to tell you that you had to bet them a certain way. I mean, some people are comfortable with more vig than others. And I guess now here, let's take a look at the cash flow. But I guess at this point now, the move would be just to take the first 3 under or the full game under. Spooner Rays first 5 minus 130. Says full game move to the Royals because the 4 best Rays relievers are taxed. You can get first 5 money line minus. You can't get first 5 money line minus 130 anymore. Yeah, look. Again, I get it. It just the whole thing just made no sense to me. I mean, who in their right mind would not want to back this starter who's had 4 straight scoreless starts? You have 93% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on the Rays. It threw me for enough of a loop here that I'm going to stay with the caution, and I can understand anybody who's not using caution here and understands the advantage they have with Shane McClanahan the way he's pitching. And that is true. Over at BetOnline, it never went below minus 144. It's only moved. The first 5's moved 1 cent from minus 144 to minus 145. That surprises me. Bookmaker just opened up their first 5 3 minutes ago. So there's no line movement there. So I think that I'm going to trust the unders in this one. But I can understand. I guess this will be the first, other than when I was in Mexico and I didn't bet the Shane McClanahan start, this will be the first 5 I haven't backed the Rays with McClanahan on the Bill for some time. Turnbuckle Tommy on the Rays. I'm not going to, but I respect it. I completely agree with it. But there's something up here with the market. I do think that the unders here, at least early, are appealing. I'm going to leave this one alone. Blackdoor King loving the under on this one as well. Shout out to K-Jax in the house. Philly and Atlanta money line for K-Jax. Let's roll on. 6:40 p.m. Eastern with the Cincinnati Reds, Philadelphia Phillies. We're at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Take a look at Ballpark Pals Park factors here for Citizens Bank. Plus 11% runs, plus 31% homers, minus 1% doubles and triples, and minus 4% singles here. We have Nick Lodolo, just 2 starts under his belt to start the season. And Andrew Painter, a young pitcher whom I still believe in. I know a lot of people have left that alone. Goon Collector says, I'm not fading the Rays here. There's not one person that's fading the Rays, Goon Collector, that I've seen. And, we have that backup from the market. I mean, we're talking about a spot where, back to that, to the, I was thinking of, back to the Rays spot here. We have 9.3 of every 10 tickets coming in on the Rays. So, yeah, I get it here. Not if you sent it in this morning. I got up at 4:30 to cap here. I was tired last night and I thought just wake up early. So if you sent it this morning, I've not seen it. Not flush, my man. But I will take a look here. We also have the Stacks play of the day right here in this one. Shout out to our guy, Justin McKelvey. Stacks in business. Stacks. Reds, Phillies here. Lodolo with just 2 starts through this young season. Look, he's been bad, but he's very highly thought of young pitcher. 8.68 ERA, 1.61 WHIP, 8.80 xERA. It's only a 9 in a third innings in. I don't think we should put too much into it. We got Troy Torrance in the house. Turnbuckle Tommy ready to get to work here. So Caden turns 19 today. Oh, I did not know that. Wow. Okay, Caden turns 19 today. Shout out to Caden. Caden Allen, man. Absolutely. Let's get Caden Allen a birthday pick. And happy birthday to the young king. Caden Allen, man. Okay, so we got to this is family now. We got to deliver for young Caden. So just to pump us up. Let's get a look at the sweet, sweet mug of Peter Loshak. Let's roll here. So we have Lodolo, who has not looked good. Last start, 8-7 loss at home versus the Nats. Both of his starts so far this year have come at home, and he's yet to deliver, but now he hits to the road, where the Phillies are hitting 257 OPS versus lefties over the last 30 days. Colin Gregory's birthday as well. Says not 19, though, 37. Look, that's right around when life starts getting better. It dips a bit. Between 25 and 35, it dips a bit. But 37, Colin Gregory is a great age to be. Caden Allen birthday and Colin Gregory. Happy birthday, Colin, my man. All right, we got 2 birthdays. We got to deliver these birthday winners for our guys, Caden and Colin here. Okay, let's back to work. So we know that clearly there's some vulnerability here with Lodolo. Let's talk about Andrew Painter. 1-4, 6.21 ERA, 1.59 WHIP, 4.97 xERA, 7 home runs allowed in 37 2/3. His last start was a great bounce back start, and he needed it. 3-1 loss at the Boston Red Sox, but he went 5 innings, allowed the 1 run. It was a solo shot, and didn't walk a batter. That was important. He'd walked 8 batters over the last 3 starts prior to this. That May 7th start at home was ugly. 12-1 loss to the Athletics. Now, here we have another team that hits lefties very, very hard. in the Philadelphia Phillies. Reds versus righties are hitting as hard as the Phillies hit lefties. And then the biggest advantage here, if you gave a wash to the starters, is that the Phillies bullpen has been much, much stronger than the Reds bullpen thus far. Let's take a look at the line history. We've already touched on the offensive weather. We've had no move at all. Painter, minus 117. This has been available since last night, just sitting here at minus 117 with no movement. From a total standpoint here, oh shit, sorry, I was looking at first five. My bad. Sorry, let me go back to money line here. Sorry, minus 121. So we have movement here. So it's the first five that we don't have movement. First five came out much later. This one we have 9 cents of movement towards the Cincinnati Reds from plus 118 to plus 110. When we get to the total here for this one, we've moved up a half run. It opened up over 9 minus 120. Now it's over 9.5 at minus 125. Chris Warren liking Bohm over hits, runs, and RBIs. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. 72% of the tickets on the Phillies and 73% of the cash on the Reds. Wow. 88% of tickets on the over and 89% of the cash on the over. Look, the market is clearly telling us to trust the Reds here. And K-Jack says, got to pull up to Boston. Yeah, I mean, I've been to Boston. It's a great city, man. I'd love to go, and it's not far from us here, so I would definitely make that happen. K-Jack's my man. Lucky Lefty in the house. Great to see you, Lucky Lefty. Opening the pool today. Respect, New Quirker, man. What a life he lives. What a life. And richly earned. All deserved. Here, though, for this spot. Sorry, let me get the timer up. I think I've been failing to recognize it. I mean, the market's telling us to bet the Reds. I don't see why I would just expect Lodolo to figure it out in his third start of the year on the road after he couldn't make it happen at home. I just think, I mean, it clearly appears to be the sharp action, but do you have the X's and O's that can follow it? And I don't. I like Painter. So although Reds are clearly sharp, I'm not going to get there. And I will cheer for you guys on the over. Offensive weather and 2 pitchers that can be vulnerable at times, but with very high upsides. I'm off of Reds, Phillies. Let's roll on. I have moved on our next spot. Shout out to our guy, Just My 2 Cents, TC in the house. Guardians, Tigers, we're at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. We have had no move on this total. Opened up at 8, minus 110 each way. That's where it is. And on the money line, we've had a pretty legit move towards the Cleveland Guardians. They opened up at plus 144. They're now at plus 130. And I did bet these Cleveland Guardians. I moved on the Guardians. I got a plus 130 on the Guardians full game. And Troy Torrance also with me on the Guardians. Justin McKelvey's got the Tigers to be Tigers' first 5 here. I'm pretty excited about the spot, honestly. I would have to say that I felt like this was the best risk reward on the table, at least for sure with the baseball card. Slade Ciccone, 2-4, 5.60 ERA, 5.18 xERA, 1.58 whip. Look, he's not been very good so far this year. We saw him pitch quite well last year, 1.19 ERA over 1.19 whip over 132 innings. His last 2 starts have been very good. Thursday, May 7th at the Royals, he went 5 1/3, allowed 2 earned runs, 6 hits, 3 Ks, 3 walks, and then last start did not allow a earned run, 7 Ks and 1 walk at home versus the Angels here. And AM says Tigers spot. We have Framber Valdez on the bump, 2-2, 4.32 ERA, 4.23 xERA. He's been okay. His last start was quite strong. The last time he was at home, he got lit up and smoked by the Red Sox. That was May 5th. But last start, May 13th at the Mets. Mets are the worst team in Major League Baseball against lefties. I think that we have one that we're attacking today that's just dropped below. But and Kong shouting at our friend Jose Bouquet. Jose will be back with us on Wednesday. But it is a sad week at Pub Sports Radio as our backbone. Now, he's still going to be a part of our show. Jerry Davis says, excited to put money on Ciccone. Sounds like an oxymoron. Now, those of you who have faded me, sure, that have capped with me, God, it's know that I've always believed in Slade Ciccone. The Guardians give up a lot for him, too, from Arizona. I think he's a good young pitcher, and he hasn't shown it this year. Shout out to Nasty Nate in the house. Yes, the announcement. Well, the announcement is on X, but we did talk about it off the top. A sad day for us at Pub, but he will still be in the bottom corner for us on Mondays. Excuse me, on the morning show, Tuesdays through Friday, Wednesday through Friday this week. But we're still going to have him here. But, him putting in his 60, 70-hour weeks will not be happening anymore here. It's sad. Yeah, no, I get it, Kong. But look, you're still going to see him here on our morning show. We still got him. And we're very lucky and thankful. So it's not, look, it's bad. It's terrible. Well, it's great news for him. Look, there's lots of different ways for us to reframe the situation. This is actually good news. He gets to take his next step in his career that he's enormously excited about. And we still get him in the mornings. This is actually really good news. It's not, this is great news. It's worse for us who work with him heavy hours, but for us, it's great for him. And DJ says Eberk, Jose has a new job that he's very, very excited about. So that's the news, Eberk, my man. And yes, Kelly, we love Jose. TJ says price is worth it for him on Cleveland. This isn't the Framber of the past. So look, this is to me the best risk reward here. So I just think there's certain factors here. First off, the Guardians are hitting lefties very hard, 261, 765 OPS. Tigers are not hitting righties right now, 244, 694 OPS. The Guardians bullpen is quite a bit better than the Tigers bullpen. The Tigers are still dealing with a ton of injuries as a baseball team. And I just think it's a great spot. And the market believes in the spot as well. We've seen this line move towards the Cleveland Guardians. 59% of the tickets are on the Detroit Tigers, but just 30% of the cash. 90% of tickets and 89% of cash on the under. That total's not moving, but that tells me that Slate Ciccone is going to pitch well here against a Detroit Tigers lineup that we thought would be much stronger than it is, and maybe a lot of that's predicated on injuries. But this is me on the Guardians here. Quick look at Ballpark Pal here. We have for Comerica, minus 1% runs, minus 4% homers, minus 6% doubles and triples, and plus 7% singles. Cleveland Guardians for me at plus 130. We roll on. Next up for us, 6:45 p.m. Eastern, New York Mets, Washington Nationals. Christian Scott on the hill going up against Jake Irvin. This one I spent a lot of time on. I'm a big Christian Scott believer. I was very excited when he came up in 2024 and then, had the almost immediate Tommy John surgery. I've watched his starts very closely. It felt like he was battling nerves in his first couple starts back in the show. He had been expected to be sort of a linchpin for this, starting rotation for the next 5 years or so. And then he got hurt, and now he is back here. And Jake Irvin is somewhat tricky to go up against. The one thing that caught me by surprise the most was that they are not making the Mets more expensive first five than they are full game. That surprised me. That surprised me a lot. But that was okay. I mean, that's fine. I don't need to focus on the first five. It just surprised me. Is all. We've had a slight move towards the New York Mets. There had been a real legit move. There had been a 13-cent move to the Mets last night. It's been 7 cents of buyback. Overall, we've had 6 cents of movement from minus 127 to minus 133. And when we get to the total here for this one, we've gone up from 9.5 to 10, juice to the over. Colin Gregory says Mets or over. There's Auburn 400. Mark Stasowski in the house. He is on the Washington Nationals. Let's take a look at and I like Jake Irvin. I think there's some value with them at times. And clearly the Mets are a public entity here right now. 78% of the tickets, just 59% of the cash on them. 63% of tickets on the under, 75% cash on the over. But there was enough for me. First off, I'm being a believer in Christian Scott. 3.45 ERA. He's got a 1.40 whip. He's just walking a little too many batters here. Still 20 strikeouts over 15 and 2/3, but it's got 9 walks here. When he went down to Syracuse, he was very disappointed after spring training. And in his first start, he got lit up and smoked. And then he was incredibly good for two starts. And then he got the call up. The first call up, if you watched it, it ended up being a 10-8 win home over the Twins. But, he walked the bases loaded, 50 pitches in the first inning, and he got 4 outs in that game. He only allowed the 1 earned run. He seems to handle the adversity pretty well. I think it's based upon his stuff. He's got a nice mix of pitches, and he's very, very talented here. TJ says small sample, but Scott handles lefties better than righties. Lefties are who I'm concerned with on the Mets. Says I can't fade the Mets here. Well, not only that, I bet them. And this is not a fade of Jake Irvin. As you see, it's not more expensive to be on the Mets' first 5. Jake Irvin's coming off a bad start at the Reds, but we've seen him pitch well at home at times. His last 2 starts have not been great at home. 10 innings, 7 earned runs. I mean, look, it's hard to say nice things about Jake Irvin. I've managed to do it, but he has cost me money. The problem is the Mets are not hitting against righties. 225, 666 OPS. Nats versus righties 224, 724 OPS. And then you have a Nats bullpen that's been pitching much better, but so has the Mets bullpen. When it's all said and done, I did move on the New York Mets. I got them at minus 132. I'm on the Mets here. And Christian Scott. Let's roll on. Next up for us, Toronto Blue Jays, New York Yankees. We're at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. There's a couple things here that just stand out. First off, you have a Patrick Corbin with 3.93 ERA, 1.40 whip, but he's got a 6.09 xERA. He's had some barrels that have just ended up in his team's gloves, and he's been very fortunate because of that. So that's the first thing that jumps out. The second thing that jumps out is the Yankees are annihilating lefties right now. The last 30 days, 279, 908 OPS. So those 2 things scream at me. The Jays are only hitting 199, 634 OPS versus lefties. Ryan Weathers, I made a big deal about his changeup this year, how it's down and away to right-handed hitters, and that's helped them immensely. And it has. But the first day that I made a big point of it, he got touched up. He got lit up and smoked here. Mark Sasavsky says, how do you not hate the position for the Mets after the big Champagne win last night and then travel? Because, and I can answer that, and I thought about that because I spent a lot of time on it, because they're 20 and 26 and 9 and 13 on the road. The belief is that is the turning point of their season, and they're excited to come to the ballpark today. That's how I frame that psychologically for me. Their first win after being down after 8 innings since 2024, which is insane. And so this is let's play some ball now. Let's feel good about ourselves. Let's have some hope. That's how I framed it. Now there's different ways of doing so here. So with all of this said and done here, I think that Yankees are a smack. I think it's a smash and grab spot here. Patrick Corbin has been holding it together. That last start, 4 1/3, 9 hits, 3 runs, 1 strike. He has 2 strikeouts over his last 9 2/3, walking more batters than he's striking out. And I'm a Ryan Weathers believer, and he's pitching quite well. His last few starts have been very good. In his last 4 starts, he's not allowed more than 2 earned runs. He's a pitcher that I believe in. Now, TJ says Yankees team total over 4.5 minus 120. Maybe that would have been a better way of handling this. But I moved on the Yankees first 5 and full game. So I got the Yankees first 5 minus a half at minus 132. And I got the Yankees minus 1 at minus 139. And the gamma ray play of the day from the Nuke Worker is on the Yankees run line at plus 105. I like that look, Yankees team total over. That might have been a better way of playing it. But I also believe in Ryan Weathers. So when it's all said and done, that's my moves. Ballpark Pal here has Yankee Stadium minus 7% runs, plus 1% homers, minus 11% doubles and triples, and minus 8% singles. And then when we go to the cash flow for this Yankee spot, we have 76% of the tickets, 84% of the cash on the Yankees. They're public. They're public. 86% of tickets on the under and 57% of cash on the under. Has this line moved heavily against me? Sorry, I didn't. Wow, it has. Jesus. Look at this heavy move. there was just a 25-cent move against me. 29-cent move. Wow, that's scary. I didn't notice that. That is very, very scary. Breadwinner taking the Blue Jays. Look, this makes me uncomfortable. From minus 190 down to minus 161 13 minutes ago. But AM saying the bats are dead right now. Again, that all is about sample size of statistics. I'm not telling you what you can use 7 days, you can use 14 days, you can use 30 days, all of that. But Breadwinner, I get it. I get it. I can completely understand this move is very daunting. But in saying all that, I know that there's no team coming close to what the Yankees are doing against lefties over the last 30 days, and I trust that here. A shout out to Professor Chris in the house. We've missed you, Professor Chris. Nice to see you, man. And Dad Fan says, still comes down to Corbin and Jays beating the Yankees. That's not going to happen. That move, I would not be sitting here if I had known that move had taken place. I would not be sitting here with my confidence. And there, look at a 10-star play today on the Blue Jays from Rod Zwacky. Wow. That's look, that's just a monstrous move towards the Jays. Line moves in the Yankees' favorite for how long there? Moved towards the Yankees for 21 hours before this big move towards the Jays. Wow. It's great to see you, Professor Chris, man. We're better when you rock with us, so it's great to see you. Colin Gregory on his birthday. Blue Jays plus 1.5, Brewers plus 1.5, Padres plus 1.5, Giants money line. Gio Bed says Game 7 in hockey. Yes, I cannot wait to break that game down, but I must say that this series has hurt me. I've not had a good read on it, and I hate saying it, but it just is. It just is. So I'm very hesitant to make a move on, but we'll break it all down. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. Boston Red Sox, Kansas City Royals. We are at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. We have Sonny Gray on the bump going up against Seth Lugo. So we have a couple vets on the mound, a couple vets with some issues with xERA and xFIP and some underlying concerns. Now, the standard statistics, Sonny Gray looks great. 4-1, 3.18 ERA, 1.15 WHIP, but it's 5.16 xERA. He went on the IL on April 21st with a right hamstring strain. So he came back, and since those two starts that he's been back, he's pitched very well. And that's something that the Peter Loshak has always believed in, right? He's always hammered. He's always not hammered, but being very comfortable backing pitchers after they come off the IL if it's not an arm issue. And this isn't an arm issue. In saying all of this, he's got some questionable underlying statistics, and this is very offensive weather. Kauffman Stadium is plus 15% runs, plus 35% homers, plus 5% doubles and triples, and even for singles. Seth Lugo, you can say very similar things about 3.76 ERA, 1.42 WHIP, has 19 walks and 52 2/3. It's not really like him. He did have 55 walks over 145 in the third last year, which was a bit of a surprise for him. And for Seth, he's got a 4.85 xERA. His last few starts have been bad. He's allowed 9 earned runs over his last 9 innings, covering 2 starts, 15 hits, 6 walks, just not quite like him. And I just lost a light there. That trips me out, but I think we're fine. I think the line still looks okay. And Nate Dogg, I will copy and paste this Nate Dogg 420 with your NHL action, and I will get Rod Zwacky's 10-star play of the day. I'm on the first 5 over though here on this one. First 5 over. I really love what we've seen from these bullpens of late, and I think that these are two vets that you could easily, especially me, wax poetic about, as I do have vividness biases on both of them pitching well. In saying all that, I'm very comfortable on the first 5 over. Quick look at the line I got the first 5 over 5 at minus 116. Let's take a look at everything that we are dealing with. Kansas City money line. Jerry Davis on the under 9 here. And Spooner says, I think Lugo is broken for what might be the first time this year. I want to bet the Red Sox, says our guy Spooner. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow for this spot. We have a 5-cent move to the Red Sox from minus 105 to minus 110. And then when we get to the total for this one, we've had a 15-cent move to the over. It was over 9 minus 105. Now it's over 9 at minus 120. And then when we get to the cash flow here, we have 68% of tickets and 78% of cash on the Boston Red Sox and Sonny Gray. We have 82% of tickets and 93% of cash on the under. Now I see why I don't have my lights plugged in, so it was going off of battery. That's good. Robert Cherry in the house. It's great to see you, Robert Cherry, my man. Okay, let's roll on. Baltimore Orioles, Tampa Bay. Oh no, sorry, we've already done that. Shit, sorry. Let's go. Stay rolling here. Okay, perfect. Okay, we roll on. Next up for us is the Astros, Minnesota Twins. We're at Target Field. Tatuya Imai back on the bump here. And Dougie Wise says has the highest save percentage in NHL history. Oh, I'm interested. Robert Franklin says the ghost of Bouquet. There's Wine Time Sports in the house. And Professor Chris says model shows Sox should be slightly bigger favorite than this. Breadwinner says staying away from this game. Astros, Twinkies, Tatuya Imai going up against Kendry Rojas. So Kendry Rojas making his first career start. This is a tricky game. First off, I do have interest in it here. I am interested in Tatuya Imai and Rojas pitching well enough to get us this first 3 under, but I have not moved on it. Colin Gregory says over or pass. Tatuya Imai, 9.24 ERA, 2.05 whip. He's got a 6.62 xERA. We knew how great he was with Cebu in the Nippon League last year. 1.92 ERA, 0.89 whip, 178 strikeouts over 163 and 2/3. He had a rough start to his major league debut, and they put him on the IL in April due to right arm fatigue. Supposedly it was a lot more mental than it was physical. He says that the pitcher's mound is bothering him. He said the cold weather was bothering him. He said the MLB schedule was very difficult for him to adapt to. The American life, eating, everything was very difficult to adapt to. And then he said that he was having a problem with the pitch clock. So what was he liking? I don't know, send this guy an escort because he was not liking anything here. He's a very talented pitcher. And I think that we should give the benefit of the doubt. Shout out to Hino Ball in the house. Great to see you. Over 9 for Jerry Davis. So we've got a lot of over bettors here. I think that it's very possible. Now, look, I've not bet this one yet, but I think it's very, very possible here that we would be ahead of the curve backing Imai as we move forward. And I know, but you'll say, look, what did he do in his first start back? He looked bad again. 10-2 loss at home versus the Mariners. So he is, it's all very, very questionable. Let's talk about Kendry Rojas here, making his first start. The Astros are not hitting lefties with any power. The Twins are doing the very same thing with righties. Robert Franklin says, sounds like built-in excuses. You know, I do think, and I've said this before, I think that when these pitchers come over from Japan, that we need to give them time. Honestly, I think that we need to have compassion for them. Look, I'm not a guy full of compassion, especially when it comes to sports. You know, you're getting paid a lot of money to play at an elite level. Whatever you're doing, go do it. You know, but with the pitchers coming over from Asia, I think we need to give them time, and I think Imai could be an incredible pitcher. So I'm on the side of giving him more benefit of the doubt than others, and I get that here. So for Rojas here, this is a 23-year-old Cuban lefty. God, the Cubans have such an ability to create these left-handed pitchers that are so much fun to watch on the mound. He has looked very good through 7 1/3, and this is going to be his first ever career start. He looked very good in Minnesota, but he only started one game in in St. Paul at AAA. He only started one game there. Last year, he came up through Rookie A, Single A, Double A, Triple A. This is a Blue Jay Rojas. This was one of our guys. So I we believed in him. Now, in his very short sample size, he's got 8 strikeouts and 8 walks, which is very concerning here. These bullpens have been terrible too. Astros 5.52 ERA, 1.56 WHIP over the last 30 days, while the Twins bullpen 5.44 ERA, 1.56 WHIP. When we go to the park factors here for target, it's even runs, minus 5% homers, plus 2% doubles and triples, and even singles. Jerry Davis says he maybe does okay, but the bullpen could give up 5. Let's go into the line history here for this one. We've dropped from an opener of 10 minus 120 to the over to a 9.5 juice to the under. I wouldn't get too excited about it. It would open at a very high, at least for the under bettors, which I'm not there yet, but it opened at an extremely high number. It depends if you want to focus on the opener or the movement, or if you, as probably important to look at both. And we've had a 7-cent move towards the Twins, very, very little, which tells us that Rojas might pitch well. I have interest in the first 3 under. You can get the first 3 under 3 very easily, with not expensive. And I wanted to talk this out, and nothing has really concerned me about moving on it. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one here. We have 84% of tickets on the under. That surprises me a little bit, and 71% of cash on the under. 66% of the tickets have come in on the Twins, and 76% of cash has come in on the Astros. That's all well and good. I would like to see the line move then to Amai, and it's not doing that. That would help me get to the Astros. The Astros are plus 104 full game at Pinnacle, and then first 5 they're plus 101. Very slight difference, basically just a tightening of vig. A Big Master says, why not first inning under? I don't bet first inning unders. I much prefer 3 inning unders here. So, look, I feel like this is almost optional misery here, but I'm going to give Imai the benefit of the doubt, and you guys don't have to. I think Imai is more than qualified to be a great pitcher here, and then I don't know what the hell Kendry Rojas is going to give us. But the Astros are not hitting lefties, and the Twins are not hitting righties, and we don't trust the bullpens. I think this does work to a first 3 under 3 for me. But I'm going to spend more time. I'm going to spend more time with it. So I'd like to tell you right now that I'm going to bet this when the show's over. I think that the likelihood of me betting this is about 65%. But I'm going to sit with it. I want to sit with the movement. I want to sit with it after the game, or after the show. We roll on. 7:40 p.m. Eastern, our next spot on the board. Milwaukee Brewers 26-18, 11-9 on the road. At the Chicago Cubs 29-18, 18-5 at home Wrigley Field in Chicago, Illinois. Honestly, maybe it's better just to bet the full game under in this one, in that Twins Astros, rather than, I know the bullpens aren't to be trusted here, but AM says Brewers. I'm a Brandon Sproat believer. The issue here is the weather is just insanely offensive. It's plus 16% runs, maybe not insanely, plus 40% homers, minus 6% doubles and triples, and minus 1% singles. Nutflush says if you are trusting him, the under is the play. Yeah, look, I certainly am not going to double down on the first 3 under and the full game under in that Astros Twins. Maybe it's better. Ugh, yuck. Okay. And then Colin Gregory says live over after Rojas leaves. Look, I think that Amai is more trustworthy than Rojas. I know that you could say, well, look, the stats don't back that up, but if you look at xERA, Amai is just slightly above Rojas. I think Rojas is the bigger question mark, honestly. What the hell is he going to do? We have no sample size of statistics. You could say the same thing about Amai, though, so I understand. But we're here with Brewers Cubs. Shout out to my guy Swiggy on the 1s and 2s. AM says Imanaga gets touched up with its offensive weather. Chris Warren on the under 10.5 at plus 102. Let's talk about Sproat here. And TJ says, y'all know I love me some Brewers. I can't back Sproat with his fly ball rate and home run per fly ball rate. Going to be an issue today. Now, the Cubs aren't hitting right-handed pitching of late, but still stay away. This made me extremely uncomfortable. You know that I'm generally an under better anyway, so this one made me extremely uncomfortable. Shota Imanaga 4-3, 2.32 ERA, 2.90 xERA, 0.90 WHIP. He's been very good to start the year. He has been blessed with some very run-suppressing weather in a lot of his home starts. His last start at the Braves, he shut down the Braves, a Braves team that's smashing lefties, and you certainly can't say that about the Brewers. Brewers are hitting 219, 616 OPS. Justin McKelvey on the over 10.5 in this one. The Brewers bullpen has been excellent. All of a sudden, it's reminding us of last year, pitching at elite level. So is the Cubbies bullpen pitching well. 3.67 ERA, 1.21 WHIP over the last 30 days. And the Cubs are hitting 231, 747 OPS versus righties over the last 30 days as well. Sproat, last couple starts has been good. Look, I kind of like Sproat. Chris Warren says Shota is good enough against the Brewers lineup here. I mean, yeah, no, that's very fair. Shout out to Jeff Slaughter. He says, I got swigs on the slow drip IV of whiskey from 101. That sounds appealing to me, man. Hook me up when I come down. Chris Warren says, says Shota's good enough here. And AM says, if you look at Brewers' last 14 numbers, their versus left-hand pitching probably better since Churio returned. Yeah, that's very, very, very legit as well. So, with all this being said, let's take a look at the line history. We know we're dealing with very offensive weather. Line history-wise, here we have no movement. Cubbies open up minus 158. Cubbies are sitting here at minus 156. And then from a total standpoint here, we have a 5-cent move to the over. 10.5 minus 110. 10.5 is now minus 115. When we get to the cash flow here for the Cubbies, Brew Crew here, 79% of tickets, 76% of cash is on the Cubs, 53% of tickets on the under, 52% cash on the under. I don't feel like I have an edge, and I think I could give a legitimate breakdown or angle as to why I'd be on either side of the total and the side. So I am off of this. Let's roll on. Next up, we have Rangers Rockies. Very, very interesting weather today in Colorado. It's just such a foreign thing to see weather not helping Coors Field. If you go to weather only, and it's blowing in, weather only, it's minus 26% runs, minus 28% homers, minus 28% doubles and triples, minus 6% singles. The combined effect here has plus 6% runs, minus 8% homers, plus 9% doubles and triples, and plus 10% singles. It's still very, very, very different than what we are used to here in Colorado. So we have Mackenzie Gore going up against Jose Quintana. Jose Quintana got off to a slow start. He had a right hamstring strain, missed his second start. And look, he just delivers over and over and over again. By the way, Rod's Wacky says, bet over the total in Chicago Cubs games after a loss by 2 runs or less. Over his record during the 2026 season, 6-0. Justin McKelvey, stacks play day number 2 is Goodman over 1.5 bases at plus 115. I like Quintana. I like him a lot. I really do. The Rangers are hitting lefties over the last 30 days worse than any team in Major League Baseball by margin. 192 average with a 540 OPS. Rockies are not hitting lefties either. 241, 655 OPS. That gets exasperated when you think about them in a very offensive stadium, and they've been playing a lot of home games here. So let's talk about Mackenzie Gore on the other side. 4.50 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, 4.04 xERA. His last start, May 12th, 8 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was solo shot, 5 Ks, 1 walk, and a 7-4 win at home versus the Diamondbacks. He was spectacular. It was his best start of the season. And maybe, look, first off, let me tell you, I'm on the first 3 under. I got the first 3 under 2.5. It was very expensive. I don't remember betting a first 3 under 2.5 in Colorado in a long time. TJ says Rockies, TJ special today. I find that extremely appealing. I have bet the first 3 under 2.5 minus 105 to get started here. But I think that makes a ton of sense here. And let's just talk, though, about Mackenzie Gore's last start because it was very good. He basically pitched. I mean, he's not been going into the 6th inning games here. He went to the 8th inning, but it only took him 95 pitches. That's important. It wasn't, I've already used the word exasperating, but it didn't break him down. I like this here. I think that, well, first off, I like the first 3 under, but I think that TJ's on the right track with the TJ special. I'd like to join him. This is we've dropped a full run from the opener, 10.5 to 9.5. Then on the money line here, we have a slight move away from the Rangers. They've gone from minus 145 to minus 140. And then when we get to the cash flow for this spot, we have 55% of the tickets, 83% of the cash on the Rockies. Let's take a look at the price difference here. First five, the full game, before we give the green light to tail our guy, TJ. The difference in price, the full game is at minus 146, and the first half is at minus 147. That's great. And then the first half plus a half, minus 110. That's great. That's all great. I'm in. I am in. So I'm on the first 303. Excuse me, my first 302.5 with very low vig. You can get better than that. God, I watch. I got to get that account in BetMGM here very quick. And then I'm going to join TJ on this first 5 plus a half, backing Quintana with a slight fade of Mackenzie Gore after his best start of the year. Slight fade, even though I do think he'll probably pitch well for a bit here. But again, the Rangers are not hitting lefties at all. No team in the league's even close to as bad as they've been over the last 30 days. 6th in the fall on the team total under 5.5. I think that's a great look. And AM says the Rockies pitching staff is free falling. Well, we don't have anything to do with the Rockies pitching staff. That's the good part about the first 3 under and the first 5 plus a half. All we have to deal with is Jose Quintana, who has been very good. Now, the last start was a little bit more of a struggle, but you go back to his last home start, he was great. And if you go back to his last 2 home starts, he's gone 11 2/3, and he's allowed 3 earned runs, walked 2 batters. Okay, let's roll on. So I am going to add the TJ special. At this point, that looks like it's the only addition at this point. We roll on 9:38 p.m. Eastern, our next spot on the board. And look at that. There we go. Nutflush says, in case I missed the breakdown, I gave Caden his birthday pick last night. San Francisco under full game, and says you can double up here. So let me copy and paste that from our guy, Nutflush Allen. Birthday pick for his son. That one's got to cash. Mike Bond saying, I'm seeing that first 3 under 2.5 at plus 100. That's better than what I got. I got minus 105. That's the first time, Mike, that I've seen a first 3 under 2.5 at Coors all year. They're all have been 3s before that. So that's the first time I've seen it all season long. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. I did copy and paste there the Nutflush Allen, a birthday pick for his son. And we have Colin Gregory's birthday as well. So let's roll. Next spot on the board here for us is this Athletics Angels spot. And JT Ginn is pitching at a very high level right now. And I guess I should say that I've been kind of wrong about him. 3.12 ERA, 1.20 whip. Got 3.84 xERA. I guess him not making the club either of the last 2 seasons out of spring training, I kind of soured on him. I didn't think he was that good. But he's pitching very well right now. And they're raving about him. His last 2 starts, he's gone 14 innings. He's allowed 1 earned run. He's struck out 11, and he's walked 2. He's never been stronger. Then we have Walbert Urena, the very young Walbert Urena, who clearly has excellent stuff. His last home start was very good. He's had 3 starts at home this year, and he's been absolutely lights out. He's a 22-year-old kid. When you get him out on the road, he tends to struggle here. And yeah, Spooner, I didn't know that the whole squad over at Sauce was on him, but I much prefer the first 3. Excuse me, the first 5. I much prefer the first. I much prefer focusing on Quintana and focusing on the Rangers' inability to hit lefties. They're hitting lefties so poorly that you have to think when Quintana comes out, if the Rockies do warm up a righty, they're going to be licking their chops. So here, the A's are hitting righties. 264, 794 OPS. They're hitting them hard. The Angels are not hitting righties at all. 217, 602 OPS. And the A's also have a very big bullpen advantage. There's a lot of advantages. TJ says the last 5 right-handed starters the Angels have seen, they've scored a grand total of 1 run. So I find this all appealing. The problem was that the market just wasn't following suit. there's been this line move towards Walbert Urena from plus 118 to plus 111, which could only explain that Walbert Urena is going to shove at home. Again, we've seen him in 3 home starts this year. The first career start, 2-1 loss at home versus the Padres. He goes 6 innings, allows 2 earned runs. His next home start he had a bad start against the Royals, and he came back home, 1 earned run over 5 innings in a 4-3 loss at home versus the Mets. And then he allows 1 earned run over 6 innings, an 8-2 win at home versus the White Sox. We know what the White Sox are doing against righties and against everybody. So there, I would say, okay, well, they're telling us that Urena is going to shove. But then why would this go from 8.5 to a 9? Now, the 8.5 was minus 125 to the over. But that doesn't make a ton of sense here to me. Yeah, that hurt, TJ, the birthday pick in the WNBA. 4-1. I went 4-1 in WNBA. I went 6-1 in basketball on Friday. And the Sparks couldn't hold on to that fucking 20-point lead. And they were going to push the 7. Brink fouls a 3-pointer with 0.3 seconds left. It made no sense. But I'm not going to hit this. Robert Franklin says Gin away splits night and day from home, 1.48 at 179 on base. Let's go into the cash flow here and let's go into Ballpark Pal because I guess I'm just a little confused as to why this would go up from 8.5 to 9 if they're implying that they're saying that Ginn is going to get touched, plus 3% homers, plus 3% runs, plus 3% homers, minus 3% doubles and triples, and plus 4% singles. And then when we get to the cash flow, we have 61% of the tickets on the A's and 90% of the cash on the Angels. So I guess that would be it. 86% of the tickets on the under and 60% cash on the under. This just doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't correlate for me. It just doesn't correlate for me. And I guess so. Let's just look at price difference, man. Maybe they're just saying the Angels bullpen is so bad that that's all about the total, and the reason why this. I don't know. Let's just take a look. So we have the Angels plus 111 full game. First 5, they're plus 114. Look, I don't get it. I don't get this. And it makes me uncomfortable. And I don't know what to tell you. Jerry Davis has just looked at batter versus pitcher. Not a huge sample, but nobody hitting Quintana. No, it's a great spot. I love the spot here. This doesn't correlate for me, so I'm not going to move on it after the show. I'm going to sit with it. This game doesn't pop off till 9:38 p.m. Eastern. If they're telling us that Urena is going to pitch well, why would this go from 8.5 to 9 and not 8.5 to at least a juiced under 8.5 or to an 8? Are they saying that Ginn's going to get touched even though the Angels aren't hitting righties? Why wouldn't then, if there's a move towards the Angels, why wouldn't the Angels be more expensive first 5 than full game? And none of it makes sense to me. Let's roll on. It sucks, DJ. It should have been a casher, man. This whole story would be great if they held on to the lead. They were up 21-2 in that basketball game. Maybe I should have just given you the first quarter. It sucks. Okay, let's roll on. Now, don't worry. TJ doesn't need me, man. And if you've been hearing what he's doing in horse racing, man, he's got the fever. He's got the fever. They picked up a $2,800 super yesterday. Spoon says he's on the Athletics. Says Guinness pitched very well on the road this year. He struggles with lefties, which Angels only have 2 of. Fresh pen for the Athletics. Makes sense, Spoon. Makes sense. Okay, let's roll on. 9:40 p.m. Eastern with the Chicago White Sox, Seattle Mariners. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington here. And man, this one is another game that I wanted to be involved in. Look, I believe in Noah Schultz. And when I was that first day that I was in Mexico, he got lit up and smoked. And I wasn't on the game. It was at the Angels. And then he didn't really bounce back at home versus the Royals. 4 1/3, 3 runs. It doesn't quite make sense. We have Brian Wu on the other side, 3.91 ERA, 1 whip. He's got 3.28 xERA. He doesn't look as dominant as he did last year. And last year he was dealing with the forearm issues. He's been dealing with forearm issues for like a year and a half. He's not dealing with them this year. Why does he not look as electric as usual? Now his last 2 starts have been very, very good. He had that hiccup Saturday, April 25th and Friday, May 1st. Saturday, April 25th was at the Cardinals. He allowed 7 runs over 3 innings. And then he didn't bounce back at home versus the Royals, which I expected him to do. He allowed 6 runs over 6 innings. And then he bounced back against the Braves. 6 innings, doesn't allow a run, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. And then he does the exact same thing in a win at the Astros. So back-to-back very, very strong starts. But the White Sox are hitting righties, 252, 802 OPS over the last 30 days, while the Mariners are not hitting lefties, 213, 672 OPS. The Mariners bullpen 3.02 ERA, 1.39 whip over the last 30 days. White Sox bullpen been pitching very well as well. Rod's wacky on Ginn over 16.5 outs. So let's take a look here. T-Mobile Park minus 21% runs, minus 15% homers, minus 23% doubles and triples, and minus 10% singles. But if we go to weather only, it doesn't tell us egregious of a story. Minus 13% runs, minus 16% homers, minus 8% doubles and triples, and minus 4% singles. Colin Gregory says, I like White Sox first 5, but worried maybe a flat spot for them after that huge sweep of the Cubs, which I only got in on that Davis Martin start. I should have made more money off the whole thing. So let's take a look at the line history here. And Millsy, MMA locker room in the house. Yes, a huge move to the Jays, Millsy, much to my chagrin. This total opened up at a 7, and it's moved to 7.5. So it has climbed up, and it took a while to climb. It didn't move till 10 this morning. So a 7 to a 7.5. And then from a money line standpoint here, we have a big move towards the White Sox from plus 160 to plus 142. When we get to the cash flow for this one, we have 60% of the tickets and 95% of the cash on the Mariners. 95% of the cash on the Mariners. This line's moving like that towards White Sox. Pretty appealing. 76% of tickets on the under and 53% cash on the under. Breadwinner says, I like the White Sox in the first game of the series. Schultz is the best pitcher they have to me right now. Mariners aren't hitting lefties. It's all very valid there. Colin Gregory liking the White Sox first 5 after the sweep, or saying he's worried that it might be a flat spot after the sweep. And Brian Zwacky says, bet on Brian Wu and home starts on the money line when his team is off a loss. Wu's record since 2024 season, 15-2. Wow. Let's see if there's a big price difference on Schultz. Not that the White Sox bullpen is being a problem, but let's just see if there's a big price difference here on the first 5 to full game. We have the White Sox full game at plus 139. First 5 at plus 140. Price on the first 3 under. Let me pull it up. For some reason, I don't have 365 up right now, so let me just quickly pull it up. Here, we'll take a look on that first 3 under. Professor Chris, it was great to have you in here, man. Great to have you in here. You're very respected here in our community, so thank you for making time for us, man. Hope to see more of you as we move forward. Robert Cherry says he likes the White Sox, but he bet the Mariners. He likes the White Sox first 5 plus a half. The MLB, let's get to MLB first. First 3 under here. The move from 7 to 7.5 should help. The first 3 under is minus. Now remember, 365 is terrible lines, but the under 2.5 is minus 155. So the 1.5 is plus 150. So you get another 2 at minus 102. I'm going to need more time with these late games. This one just doesn't fit. It just doesn't quite fit for me. But clearly the White Sox are the sharp side with 95% of the cash right now. So I'm going to sit with it for longer, but I have interest. I guess I have interest in the full game White Sox and their ability to hit. I mean, I think that's the difference in this baseball game is they're just hitting. Let's talk about the next spot on the board. Second to last game on the board. We are not capping WNBA today. I'm not just going to cap WNBA. We're only going to talk about it when I'm betting a game, and I didn't find those two spots. We are 6-3 to start the year in WNBA. We're going into NBA and NHL next after this. 2 more games in Major League Baseball. We have the LA Dodgers 29-18, 14-8 on the road. San Diego Padres 28-18, 13-10 at home at Petco Park in San Diego, California. A Petco Park plus 1% runs, plus 1% homers, minus 6% doubles and triples, and plus 3% singles. We have Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the hill, looking a little more human this year. 3.60 ERA, 4.04 xERA. Last year he was dynamite. 201 strikeouts over 173 and 2/3. He's got 48 strikeouts through 50 this year. He's already allowed 8 home runs this year. He just doesn't look like the robotic killer that he was last year. Look at these last 4 starts. He's allowed at least 3 runs in each of them. He's allowed 14 runs over his last 4 starts. That is 24 1/3. His last start was at home versus the Giants, and they got to him. And by the way, Spooner says, I don't think Dominguez or Taylor are available for the Sox here. AM says Dodgers minus 1.5. He says it's been printing money if you've been riding. I was surprised by the line here because Michael King is pitching very, very well. And to back him at home here, I find extremely appealing. Dodgers versus righties, 251, 730 OPS. They're not ripping the leather off the ball. Padres versus righties last 30 days, 218, 670. They've been terrible. And both bullpens have been pitching very well. WY says Dodgers smack. Colin Gregory on the Padres plus 1.5. We have no movement on the line. This one opened up at plus 130 for the Padres. Excuse me, plus 131. They're now plus 130. So just a 1 cent move towards them. Then on the total here, maybe it was crazy for me to think that King would be more expensive, but we also have this first 5 in full game. We also have this move to the over, opened up over 7 to minus 110, got to over 7 to minus 115, and then this morning got to over 7.5 minus 105. Since it got to 7.5, though, there's been a 9 cent move towards the under in that one. And then cash flow here for this one. Enough Flush says, why is this total so low? I mean, it's got to be based upon just the starting pitchers here, and maybe they're being overvalued. We have 55% of the tickets, 57% of cash on the Dodgers, 52% of tickets on the over, and 81% of cash on the over. TJ says King is fine. It's the Padres offense that is so bad. And then when we get to the cash flow for this spot, or excuse me, not the cash flow, but the price difference for first 5 and full game, you have the Padres at Pinnacle plus 128. And then when we get to first half, they're plus 144. That threw me for an absolute loop, man. They're saying that Yamamoto's going to shove. I mean, Penny has the Dodgers at minus 139 and first half minus 167. That's just insane. Absolutely insane that price difference would be like that for Yamamoto, who's not looking as good as normal. This one throws me for a loop. AM says Dodgers 6-1 against the spread last 7 on the road games. Colin Grady says first 5 under 4. Can't get the first 3 in Texas. Look, at this point, this game just doesn't appeal to me. It's moving towards the over. They're making Yamamoto so expensive. First 5 over full game. Nupla says with the Giants hitting him the way they did, I don't see how even the bad Padres bats don't get to him. Look, this one, I feel like there's no fairy tales in Shawshank, man. Why would they be? It doesn't make sense that obviously the books are telling us Yamamoto shoves here. Let's roll on to our final spot on the board. This was the birthday pick from our Nutflush Allen to his son Caden. We have Giants, Diamondbacks, and by the way, Rod Zweig says bet on San Diego on the money line versus a team with a good bullpen whose ERA is 3.45 or better. So San Diego record during 2026 season 16-3. Rod Zwacki's on the Padres money line. Colin Gregory says Giants money line. Wrong team is favored. Robbie Ray 3-5, 3.04 ERA, 1.17 WHIP. Now he does have a 4.58 xERA. You know, when I was looking at why the line was where it's at, I think it's just simply put, the Giants are not delivering on the road. They haven't been all year, 10-15 on the road, whereas the Diamondbacks are 12-9 at home to be trusted here. And Tatis Jr. here says is on the back of a milk carton. Says anyone seen Tatis Jr.? Breadwinner Giants plus 1.5. Jerry Davis also on the Giants here. Colin Gregory on the Giants, and we've got the full game under from Nutflush Allen. Robbie Ray, last few starts. Last start was not very good, but it was against the Dodgers, so there's an excuse. 4-0 loss. 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 of which were earned. So that was at the Dodgers. His last home start, he looked good, but we're on the road. Last time he was on the road, 3 earned runs over 6 in the third. We know that he pitches much better at home than he does on the road, but this isn't a bad pitching environment here. Let's take a look, and now it's hot, so all of these, the roof, it's always going to be closed. We figure from here on in, but let's just make sure that is the fact, and I'm not just Diamondbacks roof open. Let's just get this confirmed information, and we have oh shit, it's open. It's still open, so it's still open on night games. Open tonight, open tomorrow, and then close in the afternoon. Okay, that was good today. Did that, so it's open. So let's go take a look at the Ballpark Pal factors here. With Chase Field open, it's plus 6% runs, plus 3% homers, plus 9% doubles and triples, and plus 2% singles. Jerry Davis says the only thing that's concerning is they seem to pull Ray too early. I mean, that's not a problem because the Giants bullpen strong, 3.16 ERA, 1.32 WHIP. Diamondbacks bullpen strong too, 4.25 ERA, 1.19 WHIP. They've been very nice. Diamondbacks are hitting lefties 253, 734 OPS over the last 30 days. Giants are just 250, 704 OPS. And then when we're talking about concern for Zach Allen, I do kind of believe in him, and that's a vividness issue. 5.02 ERA, 5.33 xERA, 1.51 WHIP. His last start was at the Rangers, 4 2/3, 7 runs, just 4 were earned. His last start at home, 4 earned runs. His last 3 starts, he has allowed 14 earned runs over 3 starts. It's hard to want to back him at all. The last start where he looked like he was throwing really well was in Mexico City. He went through those first 3 innings. He took that shot, that line drive off the shoulder. Breadwinner says, I think Ray will have a good start here. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow. We've had no movement on the total at all, just sitting here at a 9. And then on the money line here, we have 8 cents of movement towards the Diamondbacks, from minus 125 to minus 133, which begs the question, is there a price difference on the first 5? So let's answer that right now. We have minus 130 on the Diamondbacks, and then first 5, minus 119. So, giving Ray an advantage first 5, but I don't really want Ray first 5. So, look, these late games did not help, man. I just didn't find anything really correlating with the way I wanted to bet it. So let's do a review of all action here on Monday, May 18th. It's paramount that we get the week started off strong, get week started off with winners. So I came in with 8 bets. Marlins first 3 at minus 120, Marlins first 5 minus 115, Guardians at plus 130, Mets minus 132. And then I had my 2 Yankees bets that look terrible now. Massive move towards the Blue Jays. We also heard the 10-star play today is on the Blue Jays from our guy, Rod Zawacki. Then we have Boston, Kansas City, first 5 over 5, and Texas, Colorado, first 3 under 2.5 at minus 105. And let's talk about additions. And going over the spots, because I really like my Miami first 3 and Miami first 5. I like those spots here. I wonder if, let's just go back to that price difference quickly, because it's got to give the birthday pick. The birthday pick's going to be on the diamond here. So let me just see the difference between the minus 110 full game. Yeah. I think the Marlins first 5. The Marlins first 5 is my birthday pick to Colin Gregory and to Caden Allen. Now, I do think that the better bet might be Rockies first 5 plus a half. So let's just hold on to that right now. Reds are clearly sharp action. I don't know if I can move on them. I love the risk reward on the Guardians plus 130. We've already discussed that. I think the Mets take care of business here. The Yankees, I fear very, very much now. I love that over in Red Sox Royals. I think that would be up there for best bets. Now, I want to get involved in this Astros Twins under the tattoo of my start. Kendry Rojas. I can understand why everybody was on the over in the chat and in the marketplace, but I think it's a spot where we can go up against it. Shout out to AOD here. Then we have the first 3 under 2.5. I think that first 5 plus a half is a great look. And maybe it's better than my Marlins. The Rangers just aren't hitting lefties at all. I think it's probably better. I think there's a higher probability of the Rockies first 5 plus a half cashing than the Marlins first 5. But it is, let's have that. Let's say my birthday pick is the Marlins first 5. Let's say TJ's birthday pick is the Rockies first 5 plus a half because it's a nice look. Kong's birthday pick here is Lodolo from Mr. Kong's Clips. It is Lodolo from the Conger. And shout out to our guy Kong's Clips. Lodolo, I will copy and paste it. Shout out to our guy Kong's Clips. Brant Hunt with 2 live dogs in the White Sox and the Twins. I like it, Brant. I like it, man. I get it. And there's a lot of love for those spots here in the chat. And I just lost both lights. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do to fix them right now. There is one thing I can do. There's one thing I can do. Let's here. How about this? We're going to. Let's do this. How about this? I got to fix these lights. I can't just sit here with no lights on. I didn't plug them in. So let's go back. Let's do a little. Let's get a little taint in here, man. Let's get a little taint. Shout out to our guy Matty Ice. Let me just fix my lights. All right, 1 light on, 2 lights on. Okay, we're in business. We are in business. Lights back in business. Okay. Then the first 3 under appeals to me in that Athletics Angel spot. We'll discuss it a little more. I get the White Sox being a sharp look. It's going to take a little bit of time here. No. Let's move on to the NBA. The NBA, 8:30 p.m. Eastern with the West Finals Game 1. San Antonio Spurs 62-20, 29-12 this year on the road at the Oklahoma City Thunder 64-18, 34-7. This is the first NBA playoff series between teams with 60 or more wins since 2017. And it's the first between teams with 62 or more wins since, can you guys do it? Since the 1998 NBA Finals between the Utah Jazz and the Chicago Bulls. Von Polo took a shot on San Antonio Spurs to win the series. If the San Antonio Spurs win the series, we cash the 16-1 to win the conference and then our 33-1 live on the chip, and my life will change. AM says, if Spurs win game 1, are you hedging? Probably. Free bands, play days, OKC, -6 and -120. Nasty Nate is on the Spurs second quarter. Justin McKelvey on the over 218.5. Let's talk about this spot here. These teams are combined 16-3 so far in the playoffs. Of course, the Thunder have not lost in the playoffs yet. We have the Spurs 8-3. They're playing at a faster pace than the Thunder have this year, 99.95 possessions a game. Both teams are shooting at the exact same number from 3, 38.4%. 49 from the field for the Spurs and 51 from the Thunder. Brant Hunt says kind of smells like an over. I mean, this total is moving towards the over. My first thought was that the Spurs are in game mode. You know, they're in compete mode. The Thunder haven't been really competing. I mean, these were 2 very, very easy series to get things started. And we know that the Thunder went 1-4 against the Spurs this year in the regular season. It felt like the Spurs had the Thunder's number. Oklahoma's had a week between games, I mean, how they won so far? They've won those first two rounds against weak ass competition by an average of 16 points per game. 16 points per game. It's being bad. Now, for Thunder backers, Jalen Williams is back. He's back from his hamstring injury. That doesn't mean he doesn't get hurt again, but he's back. Dougie Wise, free bands, NBA champ Spurs plus 400. It's interesting, and because I know you, Dougie Wise, that you're on the Spurs for the series. But your free bands is on the Thunder in Game 1. I would think then it would be best to hold off on the Spurs for the series until after they lose Game 1. But maybe you want both sides of the coin. But Jalen Williams has come out on Instagram and said that he's back. So the question is, you have Wemby, the Defensive Player of the Year, and Chet, the runner-up. Is Chet going to slow down Wemby? Is he capable of slowing down Wemby? The Spurs in compete mode after beating Minnesota, and the Blazers were tougher out than the Suns or the Lakers. Wemby averaging 20.3 points, 10.7 boards, and 4.1 blocks with 2.4 assists. Breadwinner says Spurs plus 6. They shock everyone and take Game 1. I'd love to, and I'm not against, I can, look, honestly, the Spurs futures that I have feel like a lottery ticket. I'm not going to sit here and expect to cash that. But I will say that I knew that this public was going to be moving here on the Spurs, and they have 77% of the tickets are on them, just 54% of the cash. It's a public spot, and yet this line is moving away from them. The sharp offshores have moved this to 7, and I wanted to see a sign from the books. I feel like there's no need for me here to bet the Spurs in this game, even though I do like them. I find it hard to believe that, that they'd be available at these prices here. Like I'm looking at right now, you can get a plus 7 at minus 110. That means it's moved a half point towards the Thunder. It makes me uncomfortable. Shout out to Dabby Cab in the house. Nutflush says, I have a good feeling that Spurs organization will have a heavy in the ear of the officials' management on fouls on Wemby. WY says this line is begging for Spurs money. I don't know about begging, but they're certainly very comfortable. They're opening up their arms to it. I don't know. Begging might be a little much, but I do agree. Breadwinner says lines can be deceiving. Yesterday, all the money was on the Pistons, and they got destroyed. And let's just see how that all finished up here for yesterday. Yesterday, 56% of the tickets and 59% of the cash in the end, when it was all said and done, was on the Pistons. So in fact, I mean, if I was to Game 7 at home in Detroit after beating Cleveland Game 6, with this line sitting at 4, I mean, clearly it felt like the sharp money was on the Cavs yesterday. So I think this is a bit of a different situation to me. And I agree. I don't think that they're begging, but I do think that they're comfortable with it here. GeoBet says Thunder may be rusty. They've been waiting and haven't played. Yes, I think so. And AM doesn't agree. He says this line wants Thunder money. 3 meetings in OKC this season, 8.5, 10, 11. I think that the times have changed because of the months that have gone by. Because remember, the Thunder beat them in back-to-back games, and one was in the NBA Cup, and that's when I moved on the futures. I waited till then, and I got 33-1 and 16-1. So I think that the fact that the Spurs finished off the season the way they did with 62 wins is the reason why that number has gone down. But I can understand looking at it that way, Am. It's a very valid way of looking at it. One thing that I talk about often, and it's like a joke, is when I say like I'm a Game 2 specialist in playoffs. It's a joke. I'm not. It's just that it's so much easier to bet Game 2 because you can take what happened in Game 1 and abuse it. Here, if they could give me any sign to move on the Spurs, I would. And I'm still interested in them. But the public being on the Spurs and this line moving towards the Thunder and having these futures at 16-1 and 33-1, it's just going to stop me from doing anything. It's going to stop me from doing anything at this point. Let's touch on the total, though, for those of you who are interested in moving on the total. We have this one now up to 221.5. It's just climbing and climbing. It's been climbing crazy this morning. You could have got this at a 219.5, a minus 115 this morning. Now it's 221.5. So we moved 2 points there. And again, on the cash flow, we have 63% of the tickets and 79% of cash on the under, which is a concern here. Spurs team total over for Jose Perez. Robert Franklin on Holmgren under 15.5 points. You know what? God, that could be an absolutely spectacular look. Because Holmgren's got to spend all his time defending Wemby. He's got to spend all his energy defending Wemby. If Holmgren held Wemby to 20 points a game in the series, or 19, which is basically what he's averaging in the playoffs, like 18 or 19 points, it would be a huge. No one would care that Holmgren scored 11 points. I never thought of that angle, Robert. It's such a good angle because everybody knows Chet has one job here: defend Wemby. And he's going to score too. I did not think of it, Robert, but of course that makes so much sense. He's going to use all his energy defending Wemby. That's a very, very interesting look. I'm going to copy and paste that, Robert. I really like the psychology behind that plan. He could go for 9 points and have a monster game defending Wemby. Wow. Okay. I hate that I'm sitting here with these futures. Well, no, I don't. I love it. Look, it helps me wake up in the morning. But I'm not going to move on game one. There's just too much for me to gain. If the Spurs win, then I can possibly hedge. It opens up a lot of opportunities for me here. Brand says you might find the angle live. Well, I'll certainly be watching it. No action for me. Clearly, though, at this point, it feels like the Thunder are sharp to me. And it feels like that the over is sharp here. All right, let's roll on. But that Chet Holmgren look, I think I may run with Robert Franklin on it. Like, I'm going to study it longer. But it just makes so much sense. So, all right, let's roll on to the Game 7, Montreal Canadiens, Buffalo Sabres. Honestly, look, there are consequences to our action, and there's so much on the line as our unit size increases, and there's just so much on the line, and I've been wrong in this series, Canadian Sabres, wrong. AM is on the Sabres money line minus 116. These are two young hockey teams. What's the biggest difference between these two hockey teams? It's the Sabres defense and the defensive ability and the Habs offensive ability. Other than that, they're just two very young teams with a very high ceiling, and we'll see a lot of them. When Owen Power was drafted, we said, now Owen Power maybe hasn't taken the next steps. It's tough being a young defenseman. But I said, look, Dahlin and Owen Power are going to hold the Stanley Cup over their head. I don't know when, but they're going to hold the Stanley Cup over their head. And the fact that they've made it this far already is very, very impressive. Shout out to Jam, Sports in the house, respect. Great to see you. Colin Gregory says Habs and over with a few empty net goals. Habs win 5-2. The Habs were up 3-1, 10 minutes into Game 6. The crowd is going bananas. And the Habs are going to move on to the Eastern Conference Final versus Hurricanes. And they allow 7 straight goals. I wonder what that does to them. Suzuki talking about the shock of it all. Slatsy, our Montreal guy, says Habs Sabres over 1.5 first period. 8 of the last 9 have gone over this number. Can't get to the full game. 12 goals last game with a 6.5, and now books have moved it to 5.5. Hope for a quick start and then slow. Yeah, I thought that that's my biggest mistake in this series was I thought that the Sabres would shut off the ice and slow this down. And they're not. They're fighting fire with fire. They're not afraid to go up against the Habs snipers. AM says Sabres all the momentum, and UPL showed he can shut down the scoring. Now, I'm sitting here 10-0 on NHL futures. I've never done it in my life, and I only have 2 left. And Sabres to win the East at 10-1 obviously doesn't look good with the way the Hurricanes have been playing. And then the Avalanche to win the Cup at plus 900. They're both very appealing here. So, yeah, Millsy saying Billy and Stack should do a WNBA show on Pub. Absolutely. Chris Mack Racketack, yeah, we'd love that. Chris Mack Racketack says Habs 5-0 following a loss in these playoffs. It's a huge, huge spot. And Jerry Davis says Buffalo being vulnerable at home all year. I think the Habs are the better team, and last game provides fuel for a masterclass. Yeah, look, I think all of these thoughts are legitimate, and I would give you mine if I hadn't been wrong all series long. Sometimes you have, at least I'm not going to talk for you, but I have to say, look, I don't have a read on this series, and I've got to let go. This isn't fun and games. There's just too much on the line. I would be expecting Buffalo to dictate pace because they're at home early and the crowd's going to be going bananas. But we do know that the Habs are going to have, 5,000 people in that arena going bananas? So let's get into the line history, and then we'll talk a little bit more. But we could do some more X's and O's. When we go to Game 7s here, and another thing that, let's go. The Sabres started dominating the faceoff circle in Game 6. That changed a lot, and ended up winning 12 more faceoffs than the Habs. That's very big. They were also blocking shots where the Habs stopped doing that. It was a surprise. They blocked 18. The Habs only blocked 9. Those were surprises here, and then we have Game 7s, and the record. Lindy Ruff is 1-4 in his 5 Game 7s. I mean, he's not a coach that delivers in Game 7s. Alex Lyon and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen have never played, in a Game 7. We know that Bruins series ended at 6-6. Buffalo Sabres have played 7 Game 7s in their franchise history. They've won 1. 1997 against the Senators. Of course, if we're talking Game 7s, we know this is the Habs language. They're 16-9 in Game 7s, 8-6 on the road in their history, and we just watched them do this. Now this can get you into trouble. I didn't. I did Operation Garcia in the Pistons Cavs final game, but it can get you into trouble expecting to see the same thing again. It always has in sports handicapping and forecasting and scorecasting. But, we watched the Habs do this already. They went into Tampa Bay in Game 7 and won. If you were to ask us before the playoffs started, what's harder, to go into Tampa and win Game 7 or go into Buffalo and win Game 7, you'd say Tampa. And they were able to do that. Now, they did that with 9 shots on goal. I mean, it was insane. And then what did we see the next night? We saw the Avalanche score 9 goals. Habs were only able to take 9 shots. So Luukkonen has the chance to step up and exercise demons. He stopped every shot he faced when he came in after Alex Lyon kind of shit the bed. So can he step up and be the star? I do think that Dobish and Luukkonen, it's kind of in their hands. Sick from the Fall says, I see goals here. And Jam saying, anyone betting on World Hockey? I haven't really started, but I should be capping it. I haven't been. AM says everyone keeps doubting the Sabres, and it's been paying. Let's get into the line history here and then put a bow on today's show. We have here sorry, I just blew past it. This is a patented Bobano third period over. We've already heard from Slatsky on the first period over because the first period over has been cashing. It's hard to imagine that you see 11 goals scored and we come back and we have a 5.5. This 5.5 opened up minus 108 to the under. Now it's minus 115 to the under. If I hadn't been so wrong on totals all series long, I'd be on the first period under 100%. And maybe I should stop being such a bitch, just bet it. But we've already had Slatsy come in. Why would I? No, there's no need for me to catch a falling knife here. Every single game is going over in the first period in this series. I'm going to sit here and be like, watch me. I'm going to catch this falling knife. We've had a 5-cent move towards the Sabres. This is the type of game where we can take a look at cash flow just because there's no favor here. 57% of tickets are on the Sabres, 52% of cash on the Habs, 68% of tickets are on the over, and 71% of cash on the over. Again, if I wasn't getting beaten up in this series, I would be on the first period under and possibly the full game under. But Slatsy says total's gone over 5.5, 9 of the last 10 meetings if the books are giving us plus money. Yeah. And GeoBet says usually game 7, they play more defense, so maybe the under could be a 2-1 game. And Luke Murray says, why am I leaning first period under 1.5? Slatsy says, great move by Ruff putting Thompson with Benson and Norris. Nice to have Norris healthy. Makes Kevin Adams not look like the schmuck that we thought he was. Can you believe the executive of the year he was going to get votes for executive of the year? The executive of the year is fired. Crazy. Thank God the Canucks didn't sign. Fuck. A breadwinner says there's going to be goals scored in this game. Robert Franklin has the balls to move on the under 5.5. Jerry Davis moved on the Avs minus 2.5. Also moved on the Avs versus Canes plus 240 as a hedge of sorts against Buffalo conference winner. I like that. I like that. I get it. And Rod Swag says Buffalo after scoring 4 more goals this year. Buffalo 5-2 to the under. Look, I want the under. I want the under. I want the first period under and the full game under. And I guess I'm starting to talk myself into it. But I don't know why I bet it, honestly. I don't see the point of betting it. Like, just to prove something to myself. I've been wrong in this whole series. The first period's been going over every single, like we're talking 6 minutes in, it's been going over. Matty I says neither one of these teams are happy to allow 2 or 3 goals each first period last 2 games. This is going to be a low scoring game, tight checking game. He's on unders here. And TJ says I will not go back to the under. I will not go back to the I guess that was for me. Oh man. Oh, that's funny. Okay, look, I just don't understand. Like, I don't need to prove anything. I've been wrong all series, and why would I sit here and say, "Oh, I'm gonna be right now"? But man, I think it's first period under, full game under, and maybe I bet it. Look, I want to bet it. You think I don't want to make a bet? Fuck, man. And TJ says the goalies are in their heads, man. You know what? I'm going to sit with it longer. I don't think there's a need for me to bet this. I don't think there's a need here. Rod's Wackers, Buffalo scores first. So I gave some pretty boring breakdowns to the Habs Sabres game 7 and the game 1 of the Spurs Thunder. But I'm sitting here with futures that could change everything for me. Erase so many mistakes that I've made. So I'm heavily involved, but I'm not moving on game 1 on either of these. I'm going to try so hard not to bet the under. God, I want that first period under 1.5 so badly. I don't know if I can do it, though. That is our show for today. Thank you all. Colin, Gregory, the Wager Detective, AM, Jam Sports, Slatsy, Rod Zawacki, Jerry Davis, TJ, Matty Ice, Breadwinner, grabbing Breadwinner Rock with us, Kelly McInnes. Thank you guys, man. Rob Franklin. I think that Chet look is fucking so smart. I think it's so smart. I'm going to sit with it. I think it's so smart. Slatsy, it's great to see you, man. Always Wager Detective, sick from the fall, MMA locker room. Colin Gregory, happy birthday. Caden Allen, happy birthday. Love you guys, man. Nicholas Handy, all you guys, Jam, Dougie Wise. Thank you to Swigs on the 1 and 2s. Astute Chaos, AM 420. Brant Hunt, it was great to see you. The Godfather. Let's close the show talking action here from our cappers in the chat. Justin McKelvey, stacks play day number 1. Phillies Reds over 9.5. Number 2, Goodman over 1.5 bases plus 115. Dougie Wise, free bands play day. OKC -6. Black Thor King, Rays under 9.5. Trevor Rogers, 3 strikeouts. Newkirk Gamma Ray play today. Yankees run line plus 105. Irish King Thunder first quarter minus 1.5. Flank Steak play today. Mariners. Seattle Mariners. He's also on the Habs. The Colin Gregory's action on his birthday. Blue Jays plus 1.5. Brewers plus 1.5. Padres plus 1.5. Giants money line. Nate Dogg 420. Habs money line. Caulfield to score. Hudson 1 assist. Rod Zwacky 10-star play today. The Blue Jays. And Nutflush's birthday pick to his son is the under in the Giants game. Kong's Clips play today. Lodolo 6+ Ks. On behalf of all of us, Pub Sports Radio, thank you for rocking with us. We have in 14 short minutes the Daily Sesh popping off. Shout out to our guys in the Daily Sesh. Join our guys Dabby Cab and Dutch Boy Fresh right here in 14 short minutes. On behalf of all of us, Pub Sports Radio, thank you guys for your support. Let's make this money, man. Leche! Hey, los bookmakers. Milk that shit. Milk it. Milk it. Milk it. Milk it.